Every day, in millions of homes around the world, a dog sits by the door. Not because you told it to, not because it heard a car. Sometimes hours before you arrive, it simply knows. It rises from a nap, walks to the window, and waits. For decades, we called this instinct, habit, maybe even coincidence. But what if that explanation is far too simple? What if the way a dog waits for you reveals something almost impossible to imagine, a completely different relationship with time itself? Because here is the strange truth scientists have been circling for years. Dogs may not experience time the way we do, not faster, not slower, differently. And the more researchers investigate, the more unsettling and beautiful the picture becomes. Some scientists believe a dog's sense of now may stretch and compress in ways human minds cannot fully imagine. Others argue dogs live almost entirely inside the present moment, with no true concept of yesterday or tomorrow at all. Both cannot be completely right. And by the end of this journey, you may never look at your dog waiting by that door the same way again. To understand how a dog experiences time, we first have to understand how a dog perceives change, because time, at its core, is simply our brain's way of tracking change. And here is the first revelation. Dogs may see the world faster than we do. Researchers studying something called flicker fusion rate, essentially how many still images per second an animal's eyes and brain can process before they blur into motion, found that dogs process visual information noticeably quicker than humans. Where we might perceive a flickering light as steady, a dog's visual system can still detect the individual flickers. In practical terms, a world that feels smooth and continuous to us may feel slightly slower, more granular to a dog. A tennis ball flying through the air, a hand reaching toward a leash. These moments may unfold for a dog with a touch more clarity, a touch more space between one instant and the next. It's a small detail, but it's the first hint that a dog's timeline isn't identical to ours. And it raises an uncomfortable question. If dogs perceive moments differently, could their sense of duration, of minutes, hours, and afternoon, be different too? This is where things get strange. In a now famous set of observations, researchers and dog owners alike have noted a peculiar pattern. Dogs seem to respond differently depending on how long their owner has been gone, greeting them with more excitement after a longer absence than a short one. At first glance, this seems obvious. Of course, a dog is happier after a long day apart than after 5 minutes. But some behavioral scientists argue this response hints at something deeper, that dogs may track duration not through clock-based reasoning, the way we do, but through changing internal and environmental cues, the fading of a scent, shifts in light, the slow decay of some biological signal. But its body, its senses, may know that something has changed enough to matter. This idea has a name in comparative psychology. Some researchers describe it as a difference between explicit time, the kind we track with clocks, calendars, and language, and implicit time, a felt sense of change that doesn't require counting at all. If this is true, then a dog waiting by the door isn't checking a mental clock. It may be reading the world itself as a kind of clock.
To understand why this might be, we have to go back tens of thousands of years to the ancestor every dog still carries inside it, the wolf. Wolves are not creatures who plan far into the future. Survival for a wolf depends on an intense, almost hyper-focused awareness of the present, the scent on the wind right now, the movement in the grass right now, the position of the pack right now. Evolution rarely wastes energy on abilities a species doesn't need, and for a hunting, surviving predator, an elaborate sense of next Tuesday would have offered little advantage. Domestication changed enormous parts of the wolf's mind and behavior. It softened aggression, deepened social bonding with humans, even altered the shape of the skull and the chemistry of the brain. But some scientists believe it may not have rewritten this fundamental relationship with time. Which raises a haunting possibility.
The dog asleep at your feet right now may be experiencing something remarkably close to what its wild ancestor experienced 100,000 years ago, a life lived almost entirely in the present tense. Here is where the story turns towards something deeply personal. Human beings are in many ways prisoners of time. We rehearse the past. We rehearse imagined futures. Psychologists even have a term for this constant mental time travel. It's one of the defining features of human consciousness. Dogs, many researchers suspect, do not carry this same burden.
There is no strong scientific evidence that dogs replay memories the way humans replay a conversation from last week, turning it over, regretting a sentence, imagining what they should have said instead. And yet, dogs clearly do have memory. They remember people. They remember places. They remember trauma, sometimes for years. So how do we reconcile this? A creature with memory, but seemingly without the human habit of dwelling in it. This is one of the true mysteries at the heart of canine cognition, and one that scientists are still actively debating. If dogs don't track time the way we do consciously, how did so many of them seem to know with startling accuracy when it's dinner time or when a familiar car should be arriving? The answer may lie not in the mind, but in the body. Circadian rhythms, internal biological clocks shaped by light, hormones, feeding schedules, and routine are powerful in dogs. Some researchers propose that much of what looks like waiting for a specific time may actually be the dog's biology anticipating a pattern, reinforced day after day, rather than consciously counting hours. It may be feeling something closer to a rising tide of hunger, restlessness, or anticipation, a bodily rhythm shaped by thousands of repetitions. It's not less remarkable than clock reading. In some ways, it's more remarkable, because it means the dog beside you may be living inside a body that has quietly, patiently learned the shape of your entire daily life. And now we arrive at the question that still divides scientists. Does a dog know that time is passing at all in the way we understand that concept?
Or does a dog simply live inside an endless shifting now, one filled with scents, sounds, and sensations that rise and fall in intensity, never organized into the neat timeline that defines the human mind? Some researchers lean toward the first idea, pointing to evidence of memory, anticipation, and learned routine as signs of at least a basic temporal awareness. Others lean toward the second, arguing that what looks like waiting for you may be something closer to an ever-present emotional and sensory state, not memory of the past or anticipation of the future, but a continuous unfolding present, deeply attuned to change. Neither camp claims certainty, and perhaps that uncertainty is the most honest, most beautiful part of this entire investigation. If a dog truly lives closer to the present moment than we do, untroubled by yesterday, unburdened by tomorrow, then every single interaction you share with your dog may carry a weight you've never fully appreciated. Every walk, every quiet afternoon, every moment you sit together, doing nothing at all. For you, it might be one small moment among thousands. For your dog, it may be, in some very real sense, everything. Personally, I find something profoundly moving in that idea. An animal that has lived beside humans for tens of thousands of years, and yet may still be experiencing existence in a way fundamentally different, and perhaps fundamentally purer than our own. The deeper scientists look into the minds of dogs, the stranger and the more extraordinary they become. So we return to where we started, the dog by the door, the dog who somehow seems to know.
We now understand a little more: the flicker of a faster processing eye, the quiet tide of a circadian rhythm, the ancient inheritance of a wolf that lived only in the present. But we still don't fully know what that dog is feeling in that moment of waiting, whether it experiences absence the way we do, whether soon means anything at all inside a canine mind. Some mysteries, it turns out, resist even our best science. And maybe that's exactly why we keep investigating. Because if there is this much wonder hidden inside something as simple as a dog waiting by a door,
What else have we been missing this entire time about the minds living right beside us?